Hello, and welcome to another episode of Part in the Dust, Dusting Off Construction with Caitlin and Jillian. We're your hosts, Caitlin,
And Jillian.
and we're here today dusting off the topic of RFID Canada with Khaled Elshimy from RFID Canada. So we're going to get into it. And Khaled, could you please introduce yourself and your company?
Okay, nice meeting you, Caitlin and Jillian. It's really a pleasure being with you here today. So I'm Khaled Elshimy. I'm the CEO at RFID Canada. Um, yeah,
Awesome. How long have you been at RFID Canada, or well, you're CEO? Have you always been CEO, or did you take over the reins?
I joined RFID Canada 2020, March 2020,
Nice.
just with COVID. So it was a pretty challenging time, but yeah, it was uh, an experience and joined the company. Then I became the CEO in January 2022. So almost
Nice.
2 years now.
Yeah. Very cool. Um, so with that, I'm gonna just kind of get right into RFID because that's clearly part of your name. So that's going to be a pretty big topic. So could you just elaborate a bit on RFID technology and just kind of give a brief summary as to what it is and applications and capabilities? Because there's so much, but love to
Yeah,
hear from
yeah,
you.
perfect. So first, RFID Canada is in the market since 1987, and RFID Canada has been very focused on auto identification technologies. And for sure, when we started in 1987, it was all about barcode technology.
Mhm.
And by the time the technologies evolved, we started to promote passive RFID technologies, including LF and HF in mid 90s. And at that time, the UHF wasn't there yet, or it wasn't very commercialized. But we were very um, like at the front line trying to explore new applications
Mhm.
and so on. And I think by early 2015, we started to promote as well BLE technology, Bluetooth Low Energy, as an active identification technology. So, in a nutshell, RFID Canada provide hybrid solutions using different technologies of auto identification. And we are very horizontally oriented, so we work with all verticals, more or less. So we
Mhm.
work with manufacturing, healthcare, automotive, environment, oil and gas, and like you name it. And we always work with partners,
Mhm.
so to complement our technology expertise with their business expertise, and we work together to put together a kind of end-to-end solution for end customers or end users. So this is like a brief intro about RFID Canada. In regards to the RFID technology itself, um, it's it's uh, it's very widely used because
Mhm.
I think everyone is using RFID technology probably on daily basis, but many people they don't really recognize that this is the passive RFID technology that we are talking
Mhm.
about. And good example of this is bank cards. So bank cards are utilizing NFC technology, and this
Mhm.
is a sub-technology from passive RFID technology. Um, if anyone has a pet and it has a tag, this is passive LF RFID technology. Now, in most of the retail stores, if we buy anything, it has this kind of tag that they use at the self-checkout or for security gates.
Mhm.
Or if we visit the library and these security gates, these are all very common examples of passive RFID technology or tolling applications on highways like free path highways. All these are passive RFID technologies. But also in addition to passive RFID technology, or passive technologies, there is active technologies, as I mentioned, like Bluetooth Low Energy. So
Hmm.
BLE is an active technology, like, and also maybe many people are familiar with the commercial name of the technology or the commercial project, which is like AirTag, for example. So AirTag
Yeah.
is utilizing BLE, and the only difference between passive and active is the passive, the tag itself or the transponder, it doesn't have any power supply or battery. It gets energized once it gets into the field of the reader,
Hmm.
or the scanner. But the active technology is the same as AirTag or even like our cell phones, right? So
Hmm.
they have power supply and they are able to transmit all the time so that they can communicate over longer distance. And it really depends on the use case and the application, the industry. And
Hmm.
um, so yeah, RFID has, or like auto identification as any system, it's combined of several system components,
Hmm.
and they can be deployed in different solution architectures, like in fixed setup or vehicle mounted setup or mobile setup. But eventually, all the system components have to be integrated, well designed, from selecting the right system components to make it harmonious enough to work together and to also integrate with third-party business applications
Hmm.
to provide this kind of comprehensive end-to-end solution.
Yeah, that's so much. There's so much with RFID just generally. Like I'm one of those people that didn't really realize how much there is around us until getting this job. And obviously we do RFID tracking at Identicia, but so just to know so much more is that it really is all around us. And with that, as you were talking about like the passive and active RFID tags or just RFID generally, do you have like a general estimate of like how much is used? Like, is it a 50-50? Like, is it 50% passive kind of out in the world and 50% active? Do you think there's more active or more passive? If you were to just kind of give a wild guess, unless you know.
Um, I think there is because of the rate of adoption of the
Hmm.
passive technology, given that big retailers and a lot of industries getting the passive RFID as a kind of mandate or standard for their
Hmm.
industry, including retail, pharma, automotive. And that's why we see like billions of passive RFID labels deployed on products, and this definitely needs the infrastructure. So I would say that the passive is getting a bigger portion of the global deployments because
Hmm.
of its maintenance-free
Sure.
aspect, that it doesn't have power, it doesn't need any maintenance, and this accordingly add to the fact that it's more efficient to deploy for products. Like if we compare a passive RFID tag to an active RFID tag, active tag is more expensive, way more expensive than a
Hmm.
passive tag, and this helps the passive technology to be more utilized, I think.
That makes sense. And then I'm sure that there's like a different type of lifespan for each of them. I know passive ones, ours can last 20 to 30 years, so I don't know if active has a similar lifespan or a much less lifespan and what kind of expectations somebody could have with that.
That's a very good point because the lifespan of the active tags, they really varies based on the application and the configuration.
Hmm.
So it all depends on the battery capacity as well as the configuration of the beacon, so or the active tag. So the beacon can keep advertising every interval of time. The more broadcasting or advertising, the less lifespan is. And
Hmm.
some beacons, they are uh, sealed to withstand harsh environmental conditions. This means that their batteries cannot be replaced, and
Mm.
this means that the whole beacon needs to be replaced, and this can range from anywhere from 2, 3 years up to 8 years.
Hmm.
It really depends on the configuration and the specs of the beacon and so on. But to your point, like the passive tags, usually they last for 20, 30 years. And also, um, like in reality, this is their expected lifespan. However, they need to be in the field to
Hmm.
be energized because they have shelf life. So shelf life means that they need to be exposed to scanning or to RF signal to be energized. And usually the shelf life is 2 to 3 years. So they just need to be energized or detected once to avoid compromising their sensitivity. Um, yeah,
That's
yeah.
very interesting.
So it sounds like there are a lot of different kinds of applications that RFID can be applied to. Do you think that you would say it's growing quickly in terms of RFID technology?
Um, I think yes, that's a very valid uh, point because, and I think that the the quick growth of RFID technology is mainly driven by the fact that it's maintenance free and it's most of the time present very high ROI, return on investment, and because it really tackles a very common business challenge for all industries, for all organizations, which is increased visibility and traceability, where everyone really is struggling to have full visibility and automated data capture
Mm.
infrastructure to mitigate human intervention. We all know that barcode has been around for too many years, and it's very efficient, but in many applications and industries and use cases, barcode is not enough because we need someone to go ahead and make a decision to scan a barcode or to have a line of sight, or to have the barcode exposed. And like this is not applicable in many situations where harsh environmental conditions or like busy operation, and so on. And RFID technology really address all these challenges by providing a seamless, maintenance-free, automatic data capture infrastructure that can be deployed in various applications, industries, um, in different ways of integration as well.
Yeah, and I think so many important parts of gathering that data is actually being able to address the underlying problems that these industries are trying to solve as well. Um, in 5 to 10 years. So obviously right now people are using RFID to gather information and to be able to see this information. In 5 to 10 years, what kind of applications do you think RFID is going to be able to help with?
I think, as I mentioned, like the fact that passive RFID technology is uh, widely and globally standardized. And we can see this in driving mandates from big organizations and in different industries. So this is from, like, I can mention few of them, like for example, Walmart. So now Walmart is saying that okay, all the suppliers have to follow this mandate and to only supply products to Walmart having RFID tags on it in a specific standard, in a specific data format, in a specific encoding. Not only Walmart, but Macy's, Canadian Tire, a lot of retailers in different countries. Also, UPS. So now UPS is implementing RFID solution in their vehicles to have visibility on packages inside delivery vehicles. McDonald's. So McDonald's is working on an initiative which they call it farm to table. So they need to have visibility on everything from the time of harvest until it's delivered to their customer. And in pharma, there is a lot of standards to make the RFID technology as a mandate in the standard of the industry. Luggage tracking for airlines, automotive. So I think all of this is all about reducing shrinkage and really boosting the power of visibility and traceability, utilizing the technology and its features that is really well proven in different industries.
Yeah, you just mentioned about what's it called? The airline luggage. I recently went on a trip and they lost my luggage, so that would have been very useful. So they could have told me exactly where it was a lot sooner.
Yeah, I think the luggage tracking is one of the very interesting applications and
hmm
already deployed by many airlines. And I think IATA has been working on standardizing this mandate across uh, all international airports. And their studies and their business case showed a lot of useful and promising results that really going to mitigate the shrinkage. Again, it's all about shrinkage because airlines, they spend a lot of money as compensation for passengers losing their luggage.
Yep.
But yeah, exactly. And RFID is really going to help in mitigating this problem. And eventually it's all about the ROI, right?
Yeah. So I know that at the beginning, you mentioned building connections to make RFID Canada a more end-to-end solution. So you guys are really focused on RFID and you partner with other people to get the business side of the understanding of how you're going to implement some sort of solution. What inspired you to move in this direction? And I guess you kind of touched on it based on how widespread RFID is, but if you could just speak a little more on that.
Yeah, sure. So we do carry a lot, like since we are very involved and very technology focused, we carry a lot of products and a lot of system components. So as I mentioned, it can be passive LF, passive HF, passive UHF, BLE, and even sometimes it needs to have barcode, either 1D or 2D. So, and each of these technologies, we do have a wide diversity of products. So, and here I'm talking about like 4 to 5,000 products in our system.
Wow.
So, and each application, each use case is unique, and it's very challenging to present these products as just isolated system components to be a potential solution for a business challenge. So this was our main driver to think about a platform or to develop a platform that can really integrate all these system components using an off-shelf solution and make it easy to deploy the technology and integrate it to a business application, because RFID technology is great, but it will never work as a standalone system. It has to be integrated
Yeah.
into a process, into a business application, to create this end-to-end solution that can drive the ROI. So we created solutions like RFID Hub and RFID To Go. These are just integration platforms or technology integration platforms that can integrate the infrastructure into third-party applications, business applications, and they are not like a closed box of software. It's a workbench just to help us construct this RFID solution. We have a wide selection of configurable parameters that we can play with through the GUI or the interface, and we can combine this with data synchronization modules to take the data, like after managing all the infrastructure, collect all the data from the infrastructure and integrate this data into third-party applications. And even at this point, like at this touch point of integration, it's always unique and always dynamic. So this is part of, I think, what we are always working on with our partners, business partners like Idencia, to make this seamless deployment for end users.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So since you just mentioned about us working together, how do you see how RFID Canada and Idencia complement each other in that way?
I think that's one of our key strength, and we are really fortunate to have business partners like you guys, like Idencia, because as I mentioned, technology is great, but the technology by itself doesn't solve a business problem. It
Yeah.
has to be integrated with business concept. And since we are very horizontal, we are working with a lot of partners in different verticals. We need the business expertise from partners like Idencia. So we know how to make the technology work. We know how to make the technology deployed in different industries or different environments.
Mhm.
And Idencia here brings the expertise and the knowledge about a specific industry, about specific application. And this how we can create the end-to-end solution for end customers, and here specifically in precast industry. And this is, I think, one of our key factors helping us to succeed in different verticals is working with very specialized business partners like Idencia.
Mhm. And then, so further along, like, what other partnerships and connections are you hoping to build, at least this year and moving forward to continue to achieve these goals that you have for RFID Canada?
So we are working in different directions to keep achieving our goals, because as I mentioned, it has to be always like keeping an eye on the top-notch technologies and system components in the market to fill any kind of gaps in system designs that we get involved in different opportunities. And we do have, like, our team is always very engaged with manufacturers from different parts of the world, and we are always trying to test and qualify new technologies, new system components. So this is one of the directions that we are always working on. But on the other hand, we are always working with, as I mentioned, with our business partners like Idencia to explore new application requirements and new business challenges for end users. So eventually this, like with these two directions, we are able to keep building more and more successful, comprehensive solutions in different use cases. So I think uh, we are achieving a lot of these goals now, working with
Good.
you guys and with our partners.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. We're actually going to be cutting this episode in half. We talked a lot with Khaled during our chat, so we are splitting this in two so you don't listen to us talk for over an hour. Please check back soon for episode number 2 to get the rest of our chat. The next half, we kind of dig deeper into more of precast and how RFID Canada is beneficial for the precast industry. So thank you, listeners, for listening, and please check back soon.